Another great episode. Now, 4 great episodes in a row is nothing new for this show, but considering how badly I had my panties in a twist over the poor quality of the season 4 finale, I mostly stand to look silly from this season being good. And I say bring it on! Make me eat my words, motherfuckers! Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to spend the next few minutes bitching like hell about an episode that's probably gonna end up in my top 10. What the fuck is wrong with time in Equestria? Now, people, myself included, like to praise the continuity in MLP, but we're hopefully all aware that that's cherry picking. MLP has a very 50 Shades of Grey style relationship with its own continuity. For instance, let's compare this episode to Season 1. Season 1 Episode 10, Swarm of the Century, I'm willing to bet took place in the spring. Season 1 Episode 11, Winter Wrap-Up, which must have been a summer episode because it took place after the spring, right? No, it's a winter episode. But then Season 1 Episode 13, Fall Weather Friends, is just like Winter Wrap-Up, has the name of the season it takes place in right there in the title. So what, did the seasons go backwards in Equestria or something?
'Cause tomorrow spring is here.
In this very episode, the running of the leaves takes place before winter even starts. So did 2 years pass between those 4 episodes? I mean, maybe that hypothesis is supportable. Here in the pilot, Twilight stumbles into the Apple family reunion, and here in Season 3, it's the next Apple family reunion, and those only happen once every 100 moons. If that's 100 full moons, that's like 8 years. But if there's been 8 years between Season 1 and Season 3, there's no way this is Rainbow Dash's first winter with Tank. And if she means 100 instances of seeing the moon, get a grip, Apple family, you're doing this 3 times a year, what the fuck? Well, so what? Maybe the Equestrian timeline is just completely different from Earth and has no correlation to human time. In which case I have to ask what this means.
Made me sit up proud like a cornstalk in August.
And if that wasn't enough to make you run for the continuity hills, Tank is introduced in Season 2, Episode 7, and 4 episodes later, another winter-themed episode plays. So continuity? More like continuity. Boy, do I feel like a jackass for getting all worked up over the big status quo change at the end of last season. The status quo change that was only referenced in this season for long enough to the writers say, yeah, we hate that piece of shit just as much as you do. Phew. So now let's talk about character development. But no, didn't you just get done?
Shut up, bitch!
So like I was saying, the character growth is the part of the continuity we all love to praise without ever admitting to ourselves that the series is built from the ground up on plot holes. So we just sit here and obliviously admire how far the characters have come from some arbitrary point in the past. Like, Rainbow Dash must have learned some lesson about expressing her emotions since Just for Sidekicks way back in Season 3. So it's great to see her in a more emotional scene, even though she's had emotional scenes as far back as Season 1. But the trick is that it's not so much character development in the basic bitch sense of the word, it's more like a growing emotional maturity for all the characters. Some of the best, most emotional Rainbow Dash scenes tend to happen in private, or some place where her friends can't see her. Like here in Hurricane Fluttershy.
If only there was a way to lift Fluttershy out of the dumps.
Also by the same writer, is one of her rawest emotional scenes, and it had to do with a friend who she feels powerless to help. She is loyalty incarnate, and she feels the worst when she has the least power to help her friends. But for the most part, she keeps up a brave face. Here is possibly my favorite scene with her in it. Sad, 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 mad. You see, this has always been part of her character, and letting her aggressive tomboyish mask slip more and more in front of her friends is just part of her growth. And Fluttershy putting her hoof down and stepping up to tell Rainbow Dash what she doesn't want to hear is part of her growth too.
Rainbow Dash, your winter is going to be petless.
Early Fluttershy would have never done something like that. Pinkie Pie joining in the crying instead of trying to cheer everyone up is part of her learning that being cheery all the time is not always the best way to live your life. And that sometimes you just have to cry it out once in a while still being top tier hilarious.
I'm mostly sad because you're not sad!
Twilight doing this is most likely just revenge for this. Which is a callback to another one of my absolute favorite episodes. And Applejack's palpable frustration in this line delivery
Alright. There.
probably stems from the all but confirmed theory that her parents are dead. And I might be reading too deeply into this, but I feel like this line was one step shy of saying, my parents aren't coming back in a few months, suck it up.
It's okay. Tank will come back in a few months.
And on the subject of Applejack, who has always been my least favorite out of the main 6, which is not to say she's a bad character. In fact, if she was in any other show, she'd probably be the best character, because she mainly plays the straight man. And in the past, they used to try to make her entertaining by pulling her away from her straight man role, but in this scene, and in select episodes from Season 4, she manages to steal the scene while playing the straight man, and that's almost impossibly impressive. For what it's worth, I think this scene is perfect. Oh, and Rarity was there too, I guess. The plot of this episode was almost the standard Stages of Grief story, except with one important difference. In Equestria, where the forces of nature are controlled by individuals rather than science, characters can stand in open defiance to the quite literal or figurative changing of the tides. So instead of a bargaining phase, Rainbow Dash does everything in her power to stop winter from coming, which is fucking awesome. And the act starts with a who's on first bit, which is wonderful.
That's open skies! There's open skies everywhere!
The jokes have been very self-aware this season, and I've been laughing a lot more than usual, which is not entirely new to the show since it's always had its chuckles, but most of the humor came from laughing at the absurdity of a situation that was otherwise played straight. But some extra direct jokes, especially self-aware ones, are not unwelcome. It certainly makes the show easier to recommend to people. By the way, if you think this video was funny, maybe consider subscribing or sharing it with your friends. Or, pledge to my Patreon, that would be cool too. Huh? What? Oh, yeah, there was a song. And it was great.
Winter is coming.
No, that's rubbish. Winter is coming.
As I said back in my Castle Sweet Castle video, Rainbow Dash's voice is beautiful. And that was implying that I wanted to hear more of her singing. And especially for her to get her own solo song. And only 2 weeks later, they pull through for me. It's like they really take my criticisms of the show to heart. Or maybe it was just on the production schedule for months, but now we're just splitting hairs. Those birds are probably going to die. Now, am I the only one who thought Rainbow Dash could just take tank and go south for the winter? Yes? Okay. So instead of packing a bag and taking a tropical vacation, she decides to break the entire environment.
We better move on before Rarity ruins winter and causes a drought.
What kind of stupid, short-sighted, irresponsible bull?
It's better than a Game of Thrones reference, isn't it? So Rainbow Dash basically gets off scot-free, even though a royal authority can place her at the scene of the crime.
Trouble Shoes, you're under arrest.
Riding that entire season from Cloudsdale to Ponyville was pretty awesome.
Bullshit. That's how I feel. Total fucking bullshit.
Element of treason. But loyalty is funny that way. It took Discord to make her sell out Ponyville last time.
Ponyville's your problem, not mine.
But loyalty exists on many different scales, and Rainbow Dash has been shown time and time again to value the interpersonal loyalties between her and her friends over her home, or even her own loyalty to herself in fulfilling her lifelong dream. But seriously, there are no guards at this weather factory?
And when Tank finishes hibernating, I'm gonna throw him the biggest welcome home party ever! And I'll design him a very special suit just for the occasion, whichever one it ends up being.
And I'm gonna go ahead and assume this line was a joke at Rainbow Dash's expense. You know, making fun of the possibility that she'll fuck with the season transition again. Or at least, I think that's better than thinking Rarity doesn't know which season comes after winter. But fuck, I don't know which season comes after winter in Equestria. Jeez, I love spoiling my opinion right at the beginning of the review. Allows me to quickly and quietly end the video before I feels again.
I like it!